Hello, everyone. This is Tracy at TierraCast. Welcome to my time slot for the Great Bead Extravaganza 2022 Midsummer Market. This is pre-recorded. Unfortunately, I had a scheduling conflict and can't be here live with you guys, but I was able to do this pre-recording, and hopefully it'll be just like I'm here with you. And I won't obviously be able to respond to comments live, but if you have comments, questions, anything, need to know anything about TierraCast, please feel free to leave comments, and I will be checking those comments when I'm back in the office, and I will respond to you. So please feel free to leave comments. I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera and show you guys what will be happening during this demo. Now, you may have watched the Friday night preview. Let's back this off a little bit. You may have watched the Friday night preview party let's see. By the time you watch this, it will be Sunday. So our preview party happened Friday. Hopefully you got to enjoy that. And that is when I let everybody know, of course, as we all do. That's what the preview party's for. We let you guys know what we're doing in our time slot. So we have TierraCast just launched 3 brand new kits. We're very excited about them. The way we develop kits is a little bit of a mixed bag. Sometimes we have an idea that is perfect for a kit, and we work up a design. And that's how we do. That's actually how we do kits when we're doing new product launches. We want to include kits, so we come up with a design that will work well for a kit. In other cases, we have designs in our inspiration archives that are very popular, and they may not have been developed or originally designed as a kit, but we are inspired to turn them into one. So that is the case with all 3 of these designs. We have our Jardine gemstone bracelet, which is a very boho feeling design. It has gemstones, leather cord, our Dulce Vita, one of our Dulce Vita buttons, and our Dulce Vita barrel beads, and then some of our large hole spacers. It is a simple and very, I think, elegant design. I'm pretty partial to it. I just kind of love this design. So that's one of the kits that I'm going to be demoing. And then the second one is our Lotus Blossom earrings. And this design uses some of our lotus components. We have a large, what we call our open lotus link, and a small lotus charm. And this design was created when we launched these components. That was way back in, I'm noticing that my ear wire's on the wrong side. I'll fix that. You guys don't need to worry about that. This design came out when we launched these components. I think it was possibly 2017 or 2018. We called the launch Make a Statement, and we had a whole series of very kind of lotus type of components in there. So this design has been very popular since then, and we decided it would make a great kit. And then the last new kit is what we call our Flora earrings. And this, again, is going back to our, a little more light on here, if I can. Here we go. This is going back to our Dulce Vita components and one of the larger pendants. And it's got this wonderful little cluster of crystals. And so we call these our Flora earrings. And so that's the last kit. And I'm going to demo all 3. And I'm also going to be doing a giveaway for one each of these kits. So if you just make a comment saying, my light's blinking out here, so you can get that back on. If you make a comment letting me know during this demonstration which one of these kits is your favorite, I am going to choose a winner once I'm back in the shop. And so I think, let's see, this presentation is going out at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday. I'm going to call the cutoff time 5:00 p.m. Pacific time on Monday, the 25th. So that will give some of the people who don't catch the weekend event, maybe you're watching it later, that will give you guys a chance to get your name in there, make a comment, and get your name in there for an entry. And this, you can be watching this either on our YouTube channel of the Great Bead Extravaganza YouTube channel, that it will be streaming there, and also the Great Bead Extravaganza Facebook group and the Great Bead Extravaganza business page. So it doesn't matter where you're watching, just make your comment. I will look at them all and I will choose winners maybe on Tuesday sometime. I'm going to make that cutoff 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific time on Monday, the 25th. I think I've got my dates right, guys. So I'm going to get started. I'm excited to show you guys how easy and fun these new kits are. So let's clear a little bit of stuff away. Maybe I don't need another beading mat, but I'm just going to go ahead and open a kit and show you how to make them. They're very simple. So we're pretty happy with the way we've developed our kits. We have traditionally tried to make sure that they're very simple and quick to do. We make a great effort to write instructions that are simple to follow and components that are easy to work with. So all that said, what you have in your in this kit is a bag of the leather cord and the gemstones, and then also a little bag of the TierraCast components that you need to make the project. And then you have a instruction card that has, of course, an image of the design and also some very clear instructions and a part list of everything that's in there on the back. And it also includes a link to, or a URL for the inspiration page for that original design. All three of these designs, I think, as I was saying, perhaps I made it clear, I'm not sure. All three of the designs were existing ones on our inspiration page. And so these are variations. So if you go to that URL, you will see that that design on that page is slightly different in terms of colorway, but beyond that, the ingredients and the process are all the same. So that's what you'll find in this kit. And again, this is the Jardine gemstone bracelet. So what we have here is a little 2-hole button. We have, see if I can get our light a little better. I don't know. You guys need to be able to see, and I sure need to be able to see. We have our button. We have 4 of our Jardine barrel beads. And now our barrel beads are made so that they fit multiple passes of leather cord. That was the inspiration for the design of our barrel beads. So this one is a 4x2, which means it fits 2 strands of 2 millimeter leather cord or 3 strands of 1.5 millimeter. But in this case, we're using 2, and we've also got some of our spacers that are made to fit 2 millimeter cord. So we have 4 of our 7 millimeter nuggets and 4 of our 5 millimeter nuggets. And then the non-TierraCast supplies that you find in this kit are 6 gemstones, again with large holes, and some 2 millimeter cord. We include, gosh, probably about a 20-inch strand, and that should be plenty for a bracelet, varying sizes. So of course you can make this bracelet in the size that you need, and there should be plenty of cord available in the kit for that. The tools that we're going to need for this particular kit are a little pair of scissors and some parallel pliers or flat nose pliers. Either one will work. I do prefer the parallel pliers for working with our barrel beads when we're crimping them, because it puts an even pressure down on it as opposed to the traditional pliers that have like an angled pressure. So the parallel pliers are nice for that. You can certainly use what you have. You could even use just chain nose pliers if you needed to. So you should have what you need in your tool collection. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up this piece of cord, and it's a leather cord, and I usually like to give my leather cord a little bit of pulling to kind of pre-stretch it a little bit, because if you have a leather bracelet and you wear it a lot, eventually that leather stretches a little bit. So when I'm working with leather, I tend to try and pre-stretch it a little bit. And who knows if that's how effective that is, but that is just my habit. So I've got my cord, I folded it in half, and what I want to do now is thread the cord through the holes of the button. And I want the concave side of my button to be up against the fold of the leather. So this is going to be sort of the outside. Now you could absolutely flip the button around if you prefer the convex side facing out, but I'm going with the concave. So I strung that cord through there so that that button sits as I want it. And then, is it even? It's fairly even. I could straighten it up a little bit, but again, there should be enough cord here for you to create a bracelet size that works well for you. But I want to start out with my cords even, just so I've got, equal amounts to work with. So I've got my button placed. Now I'm going to string one of my barrel beads onto both cords and slide it right up there close to the button. I want a little bit of room. I don't want it right up against the button. I want a 3/8 of an inch maybe is good. And then I'm going to take those parallel pliers and I'm going to give that barrel bead a squeeze. And I'm going to squeeze it in one direction. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to squeeze it a little more. And it just needs to be squeezed enough so that it stays in place. And that looks pretty good. So I've got my barrel bead on. Now I'm going to start stringing my sequence of beads that end up being the focal section. So I'm going to start with another barrel bead. And then the next sequence of beads all needs to be on individual strands of leather. So I'm going to string on a green gemstone. Whoops, no, I'm not. I'm going to string on one of the 5mm spacers. And I'm going to put one of those on each strand. And then I'm going to put a green gemstone on each. And then I'm going to put a 7mm spacer. And actually, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give the tips of the cord a little bit of a snip at an angle, and that just makes the stringing easier. And then I've got these little brown gemstone beads. I think they're picture jasper. And then two of the larger spacer beads again. The jade gemstone beads. And followed by those last 5mm spacers. So now you can see what that focal section is gonna look like. I need one more barrel bead. And then here's where I want to know how big my bracelet is going to be. So the instructions are written for a 5-inch bracelet, a 7-inch bracelet. So what I'm going to kind of measure here is my second barrel bead. Oops, hold on. One more barrel bead. That final barrel bead, now that one is going to create the button loop. So you can see that you've got your first barrel bead, you've got your center focal section, you've got that last barrel bead, and then the button loop is created by a knot at the end. So here's where I'm determining how long I want my bracelet to be. And for a 7-inch bracelet, I want to position that last barrel bead about 5 inches from the first. So then when I add my knots here to make my button loop, by the time I'm all done, that bracelet will be just shy of 7 inches. So, I want it to be about 7 inches. So I'm going to spread those out a little bit more. And then that's bringing it right about to 7 inches. So when you're making yours, this is where you'll adjust. You can see that you've got a few inches of cord down here at the end. So you may need to make yours a little bit bigger. Maybe you want yours to be 7.5. So you're just going to bring that second barrel bead further down. Up, bring it back here. So now these are about 6 inches apart. And by the time you add your knot and create your barrel bead, you're getting close to a 7.5-inch bracelet. So here's where you're going to decide, how long this is all going to be. So that is designer's determination. You'll need to be figuring that out as you go. So in the meantime, back to my about 7-inch bracelet, I want these guys to be just about a little more than 5 inches apart. And then I'm going to take... I do want to make sure that the focal beads are kind of evenly spaced on the cord, just so that the cord is even when it gets down here. I hope that makes sense. I don't want to get the cord lengths kind of uneven because of the way the beads are sitting. So I'm just going to make sure everything's straight. And then I'm going to take my parallel pliers, and I'm going to go ahead and squeeze that last barrel bead. Then I'm going to take both strands here, and I'm going to make a double. Using both strands, I'm just going to make an overhand knot. And I'm making sure my cords are kind of straight. I don't want them all twisted. And I want to position it so that this button loop is going to be big enough to get my button through. So that's looking good. And then I'm just going to tighten that as much as I can. I may even take my pliers and really pull on that knot. And when I've got everything positioned as I want it, I'm going to double check, make sure everything's looking pretty good. My cords are sitting straight. My focal section I'm going to secure into place once I make sure everything else is okay. My button loop is tight. I am going to go in there. Oops, just pulling on that some more to make sure it's tight. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut my ends off. And then I'm going to come in here with a little bit of glue. And it's a little bit of a super glue, gel super glue. And I want to just put a little bit inside the knots here. It doesn't need to be too much. I'm actually not even sure if this one's coming out. Let's try my other tube. There we go. So I'm going to put a little dab just right here inside the knots because I don't want those coming loose. And now here's where I want to make sure that all of my focal section beads are arranged nicely, and I want them kind of at the center. And then I come in here with the parallel pliers again and secure these barrel beads in place. And that is the finished Jardine gemstone bracelet. It's a pretty little, simple little design. It's It's a favorite, as I said, of mine, and so simple to put together. And that's it. It's a very simple little design. So that is how you put together the Jardine gemstone bracelet. We can set that aside. Remember to make a comment and to be entered for a giveaway of that kit. Let's do the floor earrings next. So for these ones, the kit contains two of our Dulce Vita pendants. I think we call these the Flora pendant. We have two niobium ear wires. We do like to include niobium in our kits because that means that the earrings that you create are hypoallergenic. So they're going to be comfortable for even if someone has skin sensitivity for earrings, the niobium is going to work for that. So let's see, I'm trying to figure out where to start on these. I think the first thing we need to do is just string all of our little, of course, I write the instructions and they're very, in theory, simple to follow. But I often find, because I have made these several times, I end up sort of forgetting to look at the instructions and I kind of wing it. And it's a pretty simple design. So if you chose to wing it too, that would be safe. You're probably not going to, it's not going to be a failure because it's a simple design. You can see what needs to happen. And you can make it happen. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn all these little crystal beads and the head pins into the dangles that need to go on the earring. And maybe I'll only end up, in the interest of time, maybe we'll just do one of the earrings because that's enough to show you the process. So here I've got, each earring is going to have, let's see, that kind of gold, topaz-y kind of crystal. We've got a couple of 4mm crystals in a blue and green, one in a purple, and one in this lovely kind of corally pink. So there's enough crystals, of course, for 2 earrings. So this is good for one. I'm going to need some round nose pliers. Going to need some wire cutters. And I'll probably need these chain nose pliers again. And the first thing I'm going to do is just come in with all of these little beads on their head pins and fold them over right above the crystal bead. And you may have your favorite ways of making simple loops. I'm just going to be demonstrating the way I usually do it. I do want to pay attention to the size of my loops. I want them roomy enough to just kind of move freely on this jump ring. So that tells me how long I want to cut this extra wire off. I do usually prefer, some people leave their wires long and they make their loop and then they trim it. I kind of tend to do the opposite. So I'm going to leave myself about 3/8 of an inch, and that should, this is speaking from experience, that should give me a nice size loop for this design. And hopefully you noticed when I was bending the wire over at the top of these crystals, I was protecting the top with my thumbnail because I don't want to bend the wire right down onto the edge of the crystal because that can crack it. So I was very careful to protect the top of it, of the crystal bead, with my thumbnail when I was bending the wire. And I think I actually probably included that little tidbit in the instructions of the kit. So, all right, so I've got my wire bent up at the top, trimmed it off to about 3/8 of an inch, and now I'm just going to proceed to make my little simple loops. That is a pretty good size loop. Now, I've made a lot of simple loops. If you've been making jewelry for a while, you've probably made a lot of simple loops. They can still be something that people struggle with, though. I do have on our blog, the TierraCast website blog, there's a DIY section. And in that DIY section, there is a simple loop blog that has a video link in there. And it gives you basic demonstrations of how to make simple loops. So that's a good little resource if you struggle with your simple loops. Head over to the TierraCast website and find that blog, How to Make Simple Loops. And I've made all my loops, but now I'm tidying them up. I'm making sure that the loops rolled all the way around. I'm making sure that it's straight. They're looking pretty good. All right, so I've got, this one's still a little bit open. I don't really want it to be open at all. So let's tighten that down a little bit. All right, so I've got my dangles made. The next thing I want to do is take one of these large jump rings, and I'm going to open that up. And I'm going to string on or attach one of these pendants. Let's get that out of the way. And then I'm going to string on all of these dangles right onto that open jump ring. And I'm not paying that much attention to the order of colors. I did put the larger ones on first and then the 3 smaller ones. And then they're just going to lay the way they want to lay. And what's kind of wonderful about this design is that they'll move, So there's kind of a nice little cluster that will move a little bit. And then I'm going to close up my jump ring. You'll notice that I went back and forth a couple times. That kind of work hardens your jump ring a little bit, helps it to stay a little more secure. And if you're one of those people who struggles with jump rings too, there's also a blog entry with a video link on our blog section that's opening and closing jump rings. So that one might be useful too. So the last thing we need to do is attach our ear wire. And you will notice that that I turned the loop of the ear wire so that the pendant and the crystals will hang forward. So that's a little trick that you may not have ever considered before. But if you have just a wire, ear wire without any kind of embellishment here, actually you can do this with an embellished ear wire too. But what I'm going to do is just grip this. I've got chain nose pliers on the small loop, and I've got some bent nose pliers up here on the hook, and I'm just going to give it a little turn, and that's going to turn the loop perpendicular to the rest of the ear wire. And that's just a little adjustment you can make to change or adapt how your earring is going to hang. And then the last step is I'm just going to make sure first that all of my little dangles are at the front, and then I'm just going to open the loop of the ear wire and pop it onto that jump ring. And there we go. So it's a very simple design. It ends up being so colorful and lovely. And there we go. That is the Flora earring kit. And I don't know about you guys. Do you guys keep your little wire trimmings? I sometimes do. I actually have quite a collection of them. Sometimes I'll toss them, but sometimes I'll keep them because a little bonus demo here. So say, for example, I have a bunch of these crystals and I want to make them into little links. Maybe I want to hook them together into a chain or something. So I'm going to make a little simple loop at one side of that wire scrap and string on a bead of some kind and just turn it into a link. So it's kind of, you know, it's a tip. It's a jewelry making tip. If you don't like to throw stuff away, these are usable. You can use them to make things and make beads into links. So just gonna just sharing that because the opportunity was there. I call them that little collection of I call them shorts. Those are my little wire shorts, and I have actually bags of them. So there you go. Some a way to use those little excess pieces of wire. All right, so that was the floor earrings. Now we're moving right along here. Last demo is our lotus blossom earrings. So we've got tassels. And these tassels that we use for these earrings have a jump ring already attached to them, so that's pretty nice. It's actually kind of key for this design because we want the design to be easy, right? And while making tassels is fun, it would complicate a kit. So we really were thrilled that we found these nice little pre-made tassels that we can include in this kit. So so we've got the two larger lotus components. We've got the two lotus charms. We've got the two tassels. We've got two gold-filled ear wires. Because this is a gold design, we did choose to, instead of using niobium ear wires, we're using our gold-filled ear wires. And then we have jump rings in a couple of sizes. We have a medium oval, two of those per earring, and then we have the smaller oval, just one of those per earring. Now for tools, we're going to need just your garden variety chain nose pliers. You might want two pairs, so I've got chain nose and bent nose here. I'm going to use a beading awl, or you could use just a push pin, and I'll show you why we need that. And the only other thing you might need is a pair of scissors if you need to trim your tassel at all. Sometimes they come and they're a little bit uneven or something, and you might want to trim them a little bit. So let's actually open the instructions so that I do it like the instructions say and I don't just wing it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open the jump rings. And again, we will just do one of the earrings just in the interest of time here. So let me set aside the extra stuff. So I've got two of the larger oval jump rings, and I want one of the small oval jump rings. All right, and my ear wire. So the first thing my instructions say is to just open all the jump rings and set them aside. So that's good. Those are all open. I'm going to take one of the tassel that I'm using for the first earring, and I'm just going to bend it a little bit. Like I'm going to fold it so that the wrap is sitting kind of on the outside edge of my finger. And then I'm going to take this awl and I'm going to thread it. You could use a push pin for this too. I'm going to thread it right down the center there like so. And I do want to make sure that that's lined up with the center, the kind of the front facing jump ring. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm just making some room. Actually, I'm going to come at that from the other direction. I'm making some room because now I'm going to take that smallest jump ring and I'm going to thread that right under that kind of, under the wrap, kind of where I made the space. Just makes it a little easier to use the awl or the push pin to make a little room for that. Whoops. And I was getting all ready to close that, but I actually need to hang the charm from it first. So that jump ring is threaded under the wrap. I attach that little charm before I close it up. And then I line my little jump ring ends up very nicely. So there we've got the charm attached to the tassel. The next thing I'm going to do is take one of these larger jump rings, and I'm going to thread it right up to on the top of that tassel. And then I'm going to take the large lotus component, and I want this to sit. This is upright, so I'm going to attach this to the bottom of that center little petal of the lotus flower. And again, close up my little jump ring. And then this is so simple. The last thing to do is to just take that other jump ring and attach it at the other side of the lotus component and thread on your ear wire. Let's see, you'll see if we put the ear wire on facing the right direction. Now this is a case where you certainly could do that little then twisting the loop of the ear wire again for this design. But because these are such a dangly design that they're going to twist and move with your movement. So that is not so much of an issue. So you see how very, very simple that design is. Now, I did recommend in the instructions a pair of scissors in case you need to tidy up the ends of your tassel, but this one looks pretty darn good. I don't think I need to do that. And another option too is you could just attach that ear wire directly to the top of the lotus too and skip that second jump ring. So there you go. Just think that is a romantic, lovely little design. So so that's it, you guys. They're very, very simple designs. Let's move those out of the way. So we can just put the finished ones back out here for you to enjoy. So all of these kits are just sweet, wonderful, colorful, easy to put together. One of the other things I love about kits is that they're so portable. So in the summer, that if you're doing any traveling, you know, kits are great. You want to be able to maybe still take some jewelry making with you. And maybe even if you have kids with you, you want to share jewelry making. So kits are wonderful for that. You could stock up and take off on your travels, and I'll keep up the jewelry making while you're gone. So that is our 3 new kits. We're pretty excited about them. We hope that you enjoyed this demonstration. It's always a little interesting after I'm done looking down at my demo mat during a demonstration, and then I turn the camera back and look up. It's always interesting to see what's happened to my hair during that process. But thank you so much for joining me, you guys, for this demonstration. I'm not sure kind of how long we went. This came out a little bit under our hour time slot, but that's okay. You'll have time for a little break before, I'm pretty sure that Jamie's next on the schedule. So you'll have a little bit of a break, maybe time for some snacks or drinks before Jamie starts her demonstration. So hope everyone is enjoying the weekend. Thank you so much for supporting all of the Great Bead Extravaganza vendors. We appreciate you. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and make your comment to enter for the giveaway. And when I do choose those winning names, I will announce that in the Great Bead Extravaganza Facebook group. And thank you so much, you guys. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.